Listen, first of all, I'd like to thank, on behalf of a lot of train drivers out there, I'd like to thank you for being the first person to talk reason over this subject.
You're very welcome.
However, there are fundamental things that are wrong with this, which is most of the reporting of this £100,000 salary or anywhere near to that. Train operators on the London Underground all earn a flat salary. I have my payslip here in front of me.
Yes.
Our salary is 52,972. That is what we all get. We all get the same. Night Tube are on a different deal because it's 2 nights a week.
Yeah.
And instructor operators, because they're instructors, I believe get a few £1,000s more than that.
Yes.
There are no train drivers, believe you me, on our combine-wide, there are no train operators who differentiate from that salary. I do not know, and none of us do. We've all been having lots of conversations this morning on WhatsApp groups amongst drivers as to who these mysterious drivers on all this money is. It's, yet again, people in the press getting hold of salaries which may include pension payments.
No, they do.
They may be looking at the fact that we get staff passes and nominee passes as potential salary.
Probably.
But all of these figures that are being drummed up, all of this is doing is fueling the fire of London Underground train drivers, which I'll add, in the train operating grade, is actually one of the lowest paid grades out there compared to other networks and other train operating companies. And I'm not asking for the violins to come out here. Yes, we earn well. If you look at other train operating companies, our pay grade is actually one of the worst paid for train operators.
Well, here's the deal. It does include pension contributions. It includes bonuses, and I presume it would include overtime as well.
We don't do overtime.
Well, it doesn't include overtime. That's why you're here.
Overtime was scrapped. The only way you will get overtime is if there is if there has been a major incident in the service and you then run late. But even then, I mean, I can't tell you the number of times I've put in overtime in the last year was probably once, and that might have been 10 minutes. We run such an accurate network at the minute and such a good service. Obviously, things happen and they cause people to be late. Yes. But where possible, they try to ensure that drivers get off at the right time. So overtime isn't really... We can't even work rest days.
What's a test driver? What's a test driver, Bob?
So test train operators are basically, whenever you get a new fleet of trains come down or new stock, these guys are specialist drivers that have worked across multiple lines and taken various tests.
Right.
And they will operate test trains. They naturally obviously get a lot more because a lot of their work is night work.
Well, will these nine drivers who've earned more than £100,000, would they be likely to fall into that category?
Could well be. Again,
because I've heard that from a couple of emailers.
This is the annoying thing, is that they've gone on, they're quite happy to publish the figures and publish the salaries of train operators, but not break down. I can categorically tell you now, the happy-go-lucky train operator that you see driving in stations on the front of your trains Monday through Sunday, they are all on the same as me, which is 52,972. I'm looking at my payslip now.
Plus the pension, plus some bonuses, plus some benefits in kind. But you're right. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just putting a little bit of flesh upon the bones of your argument.
But this is the point of view here. If we're going to start throwing pensions in, then why don't we just sort of turn around and say that all police officers are earning 60 to 70? We don't do that. What we do is we put their base salary on there because it's so bad.
Why do you think you get a kicking? Is it? I mean, I'm calling you Bob, but of course the memory of the RMT leader Bob Crow still looms large over any of these discussions. Is it because of the industrial action that the?
I think a lot of it is. I mean, listen, my wife is a nurse, so we've got both ends of the spectrum. She's dramatically underpaid as a nurse. Yeah. I agree with that, and I feel disgusted when I look at what she earns and what she does for a living compared to what I do and what I do for a living. You know. She people's lives are in her hands, and she gets a pittance compared to what we earn as train. Now, I wish that she could go on strike. I've got family who are police officers. I wish they could go on strike because they do deserve more. And I think there's a lot of envy.
That's why. No, the envy is manufactured, but the actual real story here is that you can bargain collectively, you can withdraw your labour, you can take industrial action, and that's what terrifies the people that own the newspapers and the lackeys and the flunkies that do their bidding every day.
Well, it's as I say, they keep on harping on about the Central Line strikes which are coming up. Anyone does their research, anyone looks into it, might actually go on to find that Central Line strikes that are coming up the weekend before Christmas are nothing to do with pay at all. So maybe people need to do their research and ask questions.
Why
but
would that be ridiculous? Why would I want to do
they'll just read
research?
the
I
Sun
can start
newspaper and go
whipping
along with
people.
it.
I'm not going to do research when I can get people angry without giving them the full facts, mate. Don't you know how
Yeah,
tabloid journalism
agreed.
works?
Well, just give them a copy of the Sun. That'll suit them.
I don't need the Sun. The Mail's, despite its lurches in the right direction recently, they've gone right for the textbook treatment on this one, even bringing in some clown from the so-called Taxpayers Alliance. But here's the thing, anonymous driver. What gives you the hump? Because I think everyone's guilty of this. And while today you're on the receiving end of the unfair treatment, I bet on another day you'd be shouting at your radio if I'd picked on someone to scapegoat who fell in with your worldview. Or is that an unfair assessment?
The thing with me is, whenever there's a strike on, none of the newspapers can be bothered to actually go down and find out the facts of the strike and put the real reasons out there. If they did, maybe you'd find that the general public would actually say, the way that person has been treated, the way that those persons have been treated is disgusting. I fully understand why they wouldn't want to work to support their colleague. But every time there's a strike, it's, oh my goodness me, look how much they earn. Or, oh my goodness me, they're doing this.
Why is it so effective? Why is it so effective? I know this makes me sound very naive, and the answer is going to involve the E word, envy, but it does baffle me that you know, the way to improve terms and conditions for working people is for working people to work together, and these sort of stories are the very definition of divide and rule.